The truth about Caitlin Clark and the global explosion of the Women's National Basketball Association is finally being deconstructed, and it reveals a financial structure that is far more predatory than the heartwarming stories on the news would suggest. While the public is often sold a narrative of a young superstar single-handedly lifting an entire sport out of the shadows, the actual receipts and boardroom minutes tell a story of corporate leverage and a multi-billion-dollar media capture. The common belief, repeated by every major sports network, is that we are witnessing a Caitlin Clark effect that is purely organic and driven by a sudden shift in fan interest. But when you look at the timeline of the latest television rights negotiations and the massive disparity between Caitlin's on-court salary and her off-court value, the reality is that she is being used as a high-stakes human shield for a league that was desperate for a new financial model. This is a story about the revenue illusion and what happens when a player becomes the face of a transformation that she won't actually be paid for until long after her peak years. We are going to answer the three big questions that the industry is trying to bury. Why is the most influential player in the history of the sport making less than a junior accountant in the league office? How did her record-breaking Nike deal create a massive locker room rift before she even played her first professional game? And finally, who is actually keeping the lion's share of the new $2.2 billion media deal that was secured using her likeness? To understand why this situation is so volatile, we have to look at the massive gap between expectation and reality regarding the Nike signature shoe deal, which serves as our first major point of shock. According to the reporting from the Wall Street Journal in April 2024, Caitlin Clark was on track to sign an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal with Nike. On the surface, this looks like a massive win for women's sports, as it represents the largest sponsorship contract in the history of the league. However, the industry reality is that this deal was a strategic move to lock her down and prevent her from signing with Under Armour or Adidas, who were reportedly ready to offer her immediate signature shoe status and a higher annual payout. Per reports from The Athletic during the negotiation phase, Under Armour even brought in Stephen Curry to personally pitch Caitlin on a $16 million 4-year deal. Nike's response was to use their long-term leverage to ensure she stayed within their ecosystem. But there was a catch. According to the internal timeline, Caitlin's actual signature shoe won't hit the shelves until 2026. This means for the first 2 years of her career, the most popular athlete in basketball is effectively a marketing tool for Nike's existing lines like the Kobe and Sabrina collections, while her own brand is kept on ice. This delay is what many insiders call brand benchmarking, and it has created a massive amount of friction. This leads us to the second and most shocking part of the entire industry puzzle, which is the $2.2 billion media deal leverage. According to official league announcements in July 2024, the WNBA secured a landmark media rights package with Disney, Amazon, and NBC that will pay the league roughly $200 million a year over the next 11 years. This is a staggering 400% increase from their previous deals. But here's the reality that isn't being discussed on the highlight reels. The league used Caitlin Clark's viewership numbers, which consistently peaked at over 2 million viewers per game, to secure this bag, while her own rookie contract remains capped at $76,000 a year. Per the current collective bargaining agreement, the players only receive a share of the revenue after the league reaches a specific target that has been historically impossible to hit. According to financial analysts at Sportico in late 2024, the WNBA is essentially capturing the value generated by the rookie class to pay off old debts and fund league expansion, rather than distributing that wealth to the athletes who are actually driving the ticket sales. This is a masterclass in corporate manipulation, where the expectation of a new era of wealth is being used to keep the players quiet, while the reality is that the money is being funneled into administrative growth and team valuations that benefit the owners exclusively. The rehook here is that the industry is playing a very dangerous game with locker room chemistry, which we call the envy tax. According to various reports from the 2024 and 2025 seasons, the sudden influx of attention on one player has created an unprecedented level of tension among the veterans of the league. Per social media tracking and locker room interviews, several established stars have voiced their frustration not with Caitlyn herself, but with the way the industry has ignored their contributions for decades, only to pivot everything toward a single rookie. According to a report by a high-ranking agency official in late 2024, this tension was exacerbated by the league's decision to implement full-time charter flights only after the safety of Caitlyn Clark became a national headline. While charter flights are a standard requirement in the NBA, the WNBA had resisted them for 28 years, citing high costs. According to the financial breakdown, it costs roughly $25 million a year to charter the entire league. The shock here is that the league suddenly found this money only when their primary marketing asset was being swarmed in commercial airports. To the veterans, this felt like a slap in the face and a clear signal that their safety and comfort were never the priority until it affected the bottom line of the new star. As we dig deeper into the actual marketing of the rivalries, we see how the media is intentionally manufacturing drama to sustain the growth. According to data from Nielsen, the most watched games in WNBA history are almost exclusively the matchups between Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese, or the Indiana Fever against the defending champion Las Vegas Aces. Per an industry analysis of the 2025 season, the broadcast partners like ESPN and Amazon have heavily leaned into a hero versus villain narrative that often places Caitlyn in the middle of social and cultural debates that she has tried to avoid. According to sources close to the league's marketing department, there was a directive to maximize the friction because friction equals engagement. The reality is that Caitlyn is being marketed as a polarizing figure to drive clicks, even though the people who hate watch the league are still contributing to the viewership totals that the sponsors demand. The payout of this section is the realization that the WNBA's growth is currently built on a bubble of personality rather than a sustainable business model. According to economic reports from mid-2025, if the league does not find a way to pay their stars their fair market value soon, they risk a massive talent drain to breakaway leagues or international markets. Per the news from late 2024, several WNBA players have already started looking at the unrivaled 3-on-3 league, which offers higher salaries and equity stakes. Caitlyn Clark is the only reason the bubble hasn't popped yet, but the industry is putting an incredible amount of pressure on her to carry the entire weight of the organization. According to a legal filing from a group of sports agents, the current salary cap of around $1.4 million per team is laughably low compared to the hundreds of millions of dollars in new revenue. The shock here is that even with the new $2 billion deal, the players won't see a significant raise until the next CBA is negotiated in 2026. This means the league is effectively getting 2 years of free labor relative to the value being generated. Looking further into the agency moves behind the scenes, we see a war between the big power players like WME and Excel Sports Management. According to industry reports, Caitlyn Clark's representation has been working overtime to ensure she doesn't become a company woman for a league that they feel is exploiting her. Per a series of leaks in early 2025, her team has been aggressively pursuing private equity deals and ownership stakes in tech companies to bypass the league's salary restrictions. This is the ultimate reality of the modern athlete. They are no longer just players. They are venture capitalists who happens to play basketball. According to marketing experts, this is the only way for a player like Caitlyn to actually see the receipts of her own impact. If she waited for the WNBA to pay her what she is worth, she would be waiting until the end of her career. By building her own industry through State Farm, Gatorade, and Panini, she has made herself uncancelable and unmanageable by the league office. According to various reports from the end of the 2025 season, the Caitlyn Clark effect has led to a record-breaking number of sellouts and jersey sales. Per the official merchandise rankings, her number 22 jersey was the top seller across all of professional sports for a period in 2024. But once again, the reality is that the players only receive a tiny fraction of jersey sales under the current agreement. Most of that money goes directly to Fanatics and the league itself. According to a financial deep dive by Bloomberg, the manipulation of the fan base is complete when they believe that buying a jersey is supporting their favorite player, when in reality it is mostly supporting the billionaire owners and the licensing partners. The expectation of the fan is that they are contributing to the growth of the game, but the reality is that they are contributing to the profit margins of a corporate machine that is still paying their stars like they are part-time employees. In summary, the Caitlin Clark saga is the perfect case study for the marketability trap in professional sports. According to the evidence provided by her delayed Nike signature shoe, her human shield status for the new media deal, and the manufactured rivalries used to spike ratings, it is clear that she is the most undervalued asset in the history of the game. She has proven that you can be the most popular athlete in the country and still be subject to the same corporate gatekeeping that has held women's sports back for decades. The expectation was that she would change the league, but the reality is that the league is trying to change her into a profit center that they can control. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player. She's a billion-dollar experiment in how much a single individual can endure while the industry around her harvests the rewards. If you want to understand how deep these industry secrets go and how the corporate sponsors are already planning the next phase of the WNBA after the 2026 lockout, you need to see the full picture. The game is evolving into a battle for ownership, and the players are finally starting to realize that their fame is their only real currency. To see the rest of the receipts and the moves being made by the power brokers of the basketball world, make sure to check out our Court Vision Rope Industry Secrets playlist as your next step to truly understanding the game beyond the box score and the viral clips.